Anthony from Soft Pipes, and we are here doing our little interview.
Hey, how did you decide on the name Soft Pipes, and what does it kind of mean to you personally?
I found it in a Kurt Vonnegut book, Cat's Cradle. I was reading it like 6 years ago, and the chapter itself, it's the title of the chapter, it was really cool, and it did have a sort of meaning to me. I found out later that Vonnegut was referring to a poem by John Keats where he says it first, and he's talking about like these pipers playing their instruments like engraved in stone.
Oh, cool. And
he's saying that like what he imagines that they're playing is like sweeter than knowing what they're actually playing. You know what I mean? And
cool,
like he makes it, Vonnegut makes a reference to that. And I was like, oh, at the time I was a little younger, I was like, it's so cool, like being stuck forever playing, you know, music. And but really it just kind of sounded like a nickname to me, like pipes, like vocal cords, like,
yeah,
pipes, like soft pipes, and I considered myself to have sort of a mellow, like soft voice, so it sounded like a name, like Bright Eyes or something.
Yeah, like it kind of goes with it.
Yeah, and I was just like, and it could be a band, it could be a dude, it could be one guy. So I just was like, it just sounded like someone would like call me Soft Pipes, and sometimes people do now.
Yeah.
Hey, Soft Pipes, come here. You know what I mean? Like, so it just
sort of like a nickname.
Yeah, and I was like, and I just Googled it. I had some demos, and it wasn't taken. So that was like the main thing. I was like, fuck it. It's like, you know, I'll just go with that.
Mine now.
Yeah. So, and then it just, when it came to like start doing the records, I just didn't feel like thinking about it. I'll just go
Went with it.
Yeah, it's fine.
Cool.
Yeah.
Why did you start to write and perform music?
Why?
Yeah.
Why? I just, I've always kind of been a songwriter. I started out as a guitarist when I was a teenager. Just, I still think like a guitarist a lot. Like I'm really into the guitar side of things.
Yeah.
But after I sort of developed playing, what's up, man? Morning. After I sort of developed playing, I started to like write tunes and sort of sing and like I started like learning other bands' songs. Like I put on like a Nirvana record or like an Oasis record or a Beatles record and start to like learn songs and sing along. And I just started like coming up with my own melodies and stuff, and like learning how to do the changes and all that. And I've been making demos of my own songs since I was like 19 years old.
Cool.
I'm 29 now, and you know, I always recorded my own stuff. Just because I don't know, it felt very natural to write stuff. I don't feel like I have to try to write it. It just
comes.
I just want to write stuff. Yeah, I have melodies. I always have the will to play and to do it, and I always have the energy to do it. It's very natural to just write. And I always wanted to be in a band and stuff and perform. You know, so when I moved to LA, shortly after that, I you know, joined Low vs. Diamond, and that was really cool. But I wasn't a writer really in that band. I was mainly the guitarist. And just as the band started to sort of write things together, it sort of fell apart.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why. I don't know. But yeah, right after that was done, I just sort of, I was like, you know, I think now it's time to really start putting together my own thing.
Yeah. Not
just writing. Before I had just been writing, collecting material, but now it's very focused and it's like an actual thing, you know. Records,
put a direction for it.
Yeah, records are coming out. There's a sound. There's like a vibe. There's sort of an image, I guess, to it, and it's cool. It's cool to see it start to build. You know?
Build up and take that next step.
Yeah, like people are starting to get like what it is now and like who I am, and what they associate it.
Yeah.
With, you know, which is great.
That's awesome.
It's just like a year and a half ago, or even less than that. That didn't even really exist. So it seems like it's taken a while, but it also seems, because I've been doing this for like 10 years collectively, but really Soft Pipes has only been the last like little over a year, so it's actually been pretty kind of quick that
it's taking off.
Just been solidified as a project that, you know, people start to pay attention to a little bit. So it's been fun.
Who or what are some of your musical influences?
Wow, that's good. It's really vast, probably. Sometimes I get really inspired by music that I would never be able to perform or write, like soul music or something.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh my god, like, listen to his voice or listen to that or whatever. But a lot of times, I mean, when I first started, it was like a lot of Britpop stuff. Like went through a huge thing with Oasis and the Beatles and you know, Radiohead and the Verve and you know, a lot of the shoegazy stuff and the grunge stuff. I went, you know, My Bloody Valentine was one of my favorite records, the guitar sounds, and Jesus and Mary Chain, Brian Jonestown Massacre, like in the 90s, the Breeders, the Pixies, huge for me. And then later on, and like nowadays, that was like when I first started playing in the 90s, like when I was really getting into guitar and songwriting. They were sort of the cornerstone of like started me off. But nowadays, it's like almost, it's like new records that come out. Like I'll hear like the new Deer Hunter record or something,
Good band.
and I'll be like, wow, like fuck, they're great. Like, and I'll want to like, it'll just make me want to go in my bedroom and start
writing.
Yeah, or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, like the Velvet Underground was another big one, and yeah, a lot of modern bands. Sort of, I like Panda Bear a lot. Like the new Panda Bear record was really cool. Just the way it sounds. You know what I mean? It's just I don't know. But sometimes it'll be a song like my friend plays for me. Like it'll be like one of their tunes. Like that's really cool, man. Like I feel like I want to write something now.
Yeah.
So it just depends on what hits me. But I listen to a lot of like Brazilian music too, and like French music and foreign records, like Caetano Veloso and like Serge Gainsbourg and like Francois Hardy and like stuff like that. It's like really just the sound of it is.
That's
like,
awesome to have such like a variety though.
Yeah, it's just a melody or something or a song, really, just the song as a whole will just start to move me, and I'll be like, wow, like this is my jam right now. And I'll sort of go through phases. Like I remember I read Cameron Crowe one time said like he makes mixtapes and that's like his mental diary when he just like hears that mixtape back and like brings him right back to that time in his life. Sometimes that stuff happens with me. Like I'll just go through phases with these albums and these bands, like, and then I'll like get inspired and do my writing and like record those tracks, and then I'll sort of move on to something else. But when that record comes on again, and like I hear my songs from that period when I was really involved with that record, I'm like, wow, that was like that time.
Yeah, like it brings you back to that
I was like
moment.
really into that record at that point.
Yeah.
Like, wow, you know. So, you know, that's all that kind of stuff influences me all the time. You know, it could be like a song that comes on in the background right now. Like, this is a jam. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
I'll go get it, download it, and be like, fuck, this is awesome. You know, so.
That's great though. I love that. What is your perception kind of the music scene here in LA, and do you think it's helped or hindered you in any way?
It's definitely helped me. I've never really even been part of another local music scene other than LA, because I've lived here in my like 20s, in my adult life, the longest. But I think it's a great music scene. It's huge. I've said before that it's really overwhelming and it can feel like almost like oversaturated.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going on. Like, you know, depending on if you know what to do. It's like if you only know the Sunset Strip stuff, chances are, if you're not that kind of person, you might have trouble finding, you know, what you like. You know, but if you find the places where you like to see bands, you know, like a lot of great bands play on the east side of town, and just there is a sense of community that exists here. Like I go out many nights of the week in sort of the same areas and the same venues, and I see a lot of the same musicians playing in different bands every night, and other bands backing each other up, and this guitarist plays with this band, but he also tours with a bigger band, and then he comes back, and you know, it's just, there is a community where it's like, oh hey man, how are you? And you start to recognize people and back each other up, and I think that's really cool. I mean, that's like, it reminds me sort of what the glorified version of the olden days were. It's just like,
that's what it should be.
Dylan would walk, not that I compare to myself, you'd walk in, like, see Neil Young and the Heartbreakers, and like, it's like, hey guys. It's like, not that we're that. But,
not that we've reached.
No, I'm just saying, like, just the sense of like, people know each other. And like, you wouldn't suspect that this guy would know that guy, but they do. And and I like sort of, in the last year, I've been sort of part of that. And I've played with other bands, and I still play guitar for other people when they really need it, and they play for me. And
it's cool.
And like my band tonight is like guys I've known for a while, and they're all like my really good friends. And they're not my set band, but they're like great musicians, and like some of them,
That'll come
one
out.
of them, like the drummer played like on the record and stuff, so it's cool that he's playing with me tonight.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the community part of it is really cool, and the fact that there's something going on all the time is always great. Like any night of the week, you know, Monday through Friday, Saturday, Sunday, at any venue, there's stuff going on. I mean, all the way from this club to like the Hollywood Bowl, there's always something cool.
Yeah.
And every band comes through LA. Like the littlest band on the littlest label or whoever tours somewhere in LA at some point. You know, so it's, if you're paying attention, you know, you don't have to miss stuff, which is cool.
Yeah.
In other cities and other towns, you can be stuck like where stuff doesn't come through.
Yeah, you don't get that as much.
Yeah, it's nice that here you probably have the chance to see anything if you're paying attention. You know?
Yeah.
So,
Some of the most important lessons you've learned over the years that you've been performing music.
lessons?
Yeah.
Lessons. Performing, I think, as far as like this performing on stage goes, sort of like the less is more philosophy. Like as far as like figuring out what you really need on stage,
Yeah.
like for your gear or for your voice or whatever. Like I've tried to, you know, make things really intricate sometimes. Like I need it to sound like it sounds on the record, and it's best to sort of like really whittle out, and you can only sometimes do this by playing live and learning and sort of messing up a little bit, but like really whittling out like what is important to the song, like what gear do you actually need, and like who do you need to be playing what parts, like just because it can get really messy and complicated on stage, and I feel like the more like live you can keep it,
The better.
yeah, the better. Yeah, like I have like, I don't have enough people in my band to cover every part in my song. Sometimes you just sacrifice those parts and you're like, you know, the song's still gonna translate with this,
Yeah.
and this or that. Or, you know, it's no big deal, you know, to live in the modern age to play like a drum track underneath your fucking, you know what I mean? It's just
Yeah,
like, just but
it
but
happens.
keep it simplistic, you know what I mean? But like, it's like, you know, sometimes I see bands with like really intricate setups and computer things and patch bays, and I'm just like, wow. You know, like I can see that if you're like, you know, playing the bigger theaters and stuff where you have people helping you set that up, and it's like you're on that level. But I feel like at this level, it's kind of, which is what I kind of know. I've played a lot of bigger venues too, theaters and whatnot, and I've played some festivals. I just think less is more is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, depending on what kind of band you are, but yeah, keeping it sort of as sparse as you can, but making it sound as
Sound is crazy.
yeah. I mean, some bands are lucky their songs lend themselves to that a little bit more. Like that's one reason why I always envy bands like the Pixies and stuff, because it's just 4 of them.
Yeah.
It's just the 4 parts, and the
that's
songs
it.
are so incredible, and it's like, why didn't I write that?
Why couldn't I do
Why did I track like 10 other guitars? I don't know why, but it sounded fun at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as you're having fun.
Yeah.
Do you ever find it difficult to kind of balance the artistry and business side of being a musician?
Yes. I feel like I'm not really that good at business at all. Like I'm not flaky in any way. Like, I'm very much on top of everything I need to be on top of, like with or without management, but like I have no problem doing interviews, answering phone calls, writing a bunch of emails, you know, keeping the band together, making sure everybody has what they need.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And sort of taking meetings with people and doing licensing stuff. I can handle all of it, and I'm on top of it, and things don't slip through the cracks with me, but really all I really want to do is just sit somewhere and like either perform or write and record.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just pay attention to my guitars and my vocals and what's going, you know what I mean?
Focus on that rather than
Yeah,
everything
like that's
else.
the most fun always. You know
Of
what I mean?
course,
Like,
yeah.
It's fun, it's good too when like business stuff kind of comes to fruition and like it's set and it's finished and it's like great. You need that side of things to
Yeah.
make things happen for yourself. But when it comes to like licensing deals or record deals and things, and it's like contracts get thrown at you and like people are talking about what they would get up front and this and that. I'm just kind of like, I don't know what's normal. What is that normal? Like, what
Yeah, is that-
Yeah, like is he? And like, I'll talk to another band like, oh, but he's not taking that, is it? You got to find if he's taking that. If he's taking that, and like, they give me this like a concerned look, and I'm just like, I don't know what he's.
I don't know what to do now.
I don't know. I just, you know, and it's like it's kind of in the beginning too, so you sort of want to build as much as you can. So you're like, you like you welcome
everything.
yeah, so that can be tough to like sort of maintain all the like the artwork and the songs and the image and all that stuff, and like really building the aesthetic of what it is you're doing and paying attention to all that is like kind of a little tricky for me sometimes.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess I'll learn as it
learn as you go.
Yeah. But no, I've been like in other bands enough to know like when I need a lawyer and when I need a manager and what I can handle myself and
when it's time to bring someone else
exactly.
in. Yeah. What are some of the advantages and struggles that you've encountered by kind of independently releasing your music?
Advantages, I've said that I love being like the boss, like the solo artist. Like it's
just
especially artistically, it's cool making all your own decisions. Things move quicker. They move much more quickly for me because I know what I'm looking for in my songs. And I don't need to pass it through 3 or 4 other minds to like approve it for me, you know. So that's really good, and you know, I like doing these interviews, and I like talking to people who are sort of interested in what I'm doing, and being the person that gets to explain it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm a little bit of a control person when it comes to like stuff that I put myself into. Or in a couple of my last bands, I didn't get to say much, which is a little frustrating for me because I usually feel like I have something to say.
Yeah.
So I'm not a guy who just likes to sit back and be the guitar player. Like
no, you should always have that kind of voice.
I want to write that. I like want to write things, and I want to talk about it. I want to talk about why I wrote it, and you know, questions don't bother me. Like I like. It's why I'm out here doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I just want to like do it and get it out and everything. So it'd be tough for me to just lay back and just be a player. You know what I mean? So like some guys are really talented. They'll use my instrument. I'm just in the band. Like that's just my mindset. Some people are just more hardwired for that mindset.
Yeah.
I'm not. You know what I mean? So doing my solo thing has been a huge like advantage for me. Like it's like a breath of fresh air. You know, it feels good. Like it feels like no matter how little the progress is rewarding. You know? And as far as the disadvantages go, I always say that there's really not much, except for the live thing. It's tricky because I love playing live, and I love being a tight band and like sweating on stage and playing all the time. The live thing's great. You got to keep it live. You got to play with other musicians. You got to practice, and it's really important to not get too like wrapped up in your own little bubble. I feel like. And just it's tough when you're doing a solo project to keep people in, to keep playing with you.
To keep bringing them.
You know, and then especially when they're not fully in the band yet, like you wrote everything alone and recorded everything alone or something, and then like obviously you want to give them stuff, you want to give them something, but you're like, you know, it's tough to pay people, you know, and you know, musician, it's a job. I mean, these guys play with me and play around town. That's their craft. That's what they do. They need to get paid. Yeah, and I understand that. I want to get paid when I play guitar for someone else, you know. But you know, when you're not making a lot of money, or when you're putting a lot into your project, getting off the ground, it's tough to like that. I mean, that is putting money into it because you're paying the musicians to play. And it's not like it's not worth it. It's totally essential to the process, but it's just hard.
It's hard to do it.
Yeah, it's just difficult, and it's just tough. Like being in a band's cool when you're like a gang and everybody's on the same page, fired up. It's like, let's do this, you know. Not that I don't have that with these guys like, before we go on, but it's like it's just that's kind of like bums me out. Like it would be great that when gigs come in or shows, it's like, yeah, we'll do it. You know, I'm there. I have to think like shit. I have to email guys and be like, can he play drums that night? If he's on tour, I got to find this guy, and it's kind of like you have to like
start picking up the phone
every time you play like one show, and that can be kind of frustrating. So that's the only disadvantage because I like playing live and I don't get to do it as frequently. So without having a set band, so
you'll get there. How excited are you to be releasing your EP, Stay Pretty, today?
Really excited because I feel like sometimes once I release something and get it out, it's kind of like it pushes it out of my brain, and the next thing can come in.
The next thing you can start working on.
This EP's been done, being recorded for like 4 or 5 months. Like I've been finished with it for a while, but I wanted, you know, to find the right time to put it out, and I wanted to like have some publicity for it, and I was, you know, sort of like talking to people who wanted to help me do that, and you know, and just to to get it all together and get it all situated
Yeah.
took a little while. The music was like very quickly made, and then it just like getting it out and situated was like took forever.
Such a process.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm like already like, you know, well into demoing for my like second record, because I put out a record before the EP, and so I'm already feeling like, wow, I'm sort of already past the sound on the EP. I'm like kind of like, I don't think I'm ever gonna do this sound again. Or maybe just a hint of it.
On to the next.
Yeah, yes. It was kind of like the first album was here and the second album was here, and like the EP's like this little like lily pad like in between. It's like, and I'm already sort of like hopping on to the next thing, and it's just coming. It's new for everyone else, but for me, I've been like waiting for it to come out. So I'm really excited about putting it out.
Awesome.
It's nice that today is
finally here.
Today is the day. Yeah.
Changes or progressions that you've noticed in your music from kind of first starting out until now?
Definitely. Just like my sort of attitude in my music has just been a little more just upfront, like lyrically and with some of the content. It's been a little more like, wow, you're saying that? Like, you know what I mean? And just like, just melodically, the way I use my voice is a little more like croony or something, and my guitar sounds, like the way that I record it, it's like, from the album to the EP specifically, the EP got like really fuzzy and kind of dirty, and some of the songs were like, one of the songs was like 7 or 8 minutes long, just because I just felt like that's where I wanted that one to go.
Yeah, that's where it needs to be.
I just didn't even think about it, you know. It's just kind of like, this feels comfortable, so I'm just gonna let it be that. Because the first time I was like whittling everything down, so it was like, okay, there's enough choruses and like everything is moving along nicely.
Yeah, meets those sort of...
Every little part services the song the right way. Not that I still think about things servicing the song, but just definitely my overall, like, maybe it's just because, you know, as life goes on and experiences happen and change you a little bit, like so does the songs. You know what I mean? So it's like, because I write very much like from like where I'm at all the time, you know what I mean? So if something's going on with me, like when I'm starting to change, like my songs will
it'll come out that way.
Yeah, so definitely, definitely
natural progression. What defines a good show for you?
Defines a good show for me, like when I'm playing. Probably the same thing that defines it for most people, which is like, if your sound is good on stage and you feel like you sang well, it's like, it was great. Yeah. And it doesn't matter if people are like, you guys weren't that good. Like, or like, I've heard you guys be a lot better, you know, like, or like, you were better the last time I saw you. Yeah. I have like close friends, sometimes it'll be like, oh yeah, the last one was like a little bit more like energetic or whatever. I'm like, oh cool. But I'm like, I felt great.
I don't care. I felt.
Reason, and they're like, it's just a funny thing. Like, you're like, my show sucked because like your monitor wasn't like that great. But like other people might be like, you guys were amazing tonight. Like, it was just great energy and whatever. And you're like, it sucked only because like, you couldn't hear yourself. But,
just because you think it didn't come off right.
It's very subjective, but sometimes that defines it for me. Yeah. But other times, you know, if you can actually from stage like feel like a crowd, like it's like a conversation, like
back and forth.
You're like, this person is like, I've been like talking the whole time, and this person is just like pulling teeth to get to know. Like, you're like, what's up with that dude? He's so awkward. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that kind of give me something.
Yeah, sometimes the audience can be like that. It's just kind of like you're not feeling it, and that can make things weird. Yeah. That almost makes me just want to be rebellious and be like, let's just play so fucking loud. Or like, let's just when I feel like just a whatever coming. Yeah. I'm just kind of like, let's just plow through it, you know. But yeah, good show is definitely a good crowd, good sound, just good vibe, good vibes all around, you know.
Upcoming plans.
Upcoming plans. Well, I think I have a new song that I'm actually going to play tonight that I want to sort of record and release really quickly in like the next 2 months or so, like right at the end of the year. Awesome. It's kind of like a holiday single. Has nothing to do with the holidays or anything. It's just like a holiday. It's just going to come out during that time. And I have a song that I'm remixing off of my first record that I kind of want to use as like a B-side. Cool. Because it's like a kind of different version of sort of kind of maybe what I wanted to do then, but didn't know how to do it, so I'm doing it. Now you're doing it. Yeah. And I have this new song that's like really fun kind of song. It's really energetic. And I don't like a lot of time to go by before I like when I have with my output.
With the next thing.
Yeah, so like I think I want to release that in the next like couple months, like a new single and like a B-side or something.
Cool.
And just keep playing shows. And then I have another project that I'm doing an EP for next month. It's called Beat Club. It's like a whole different kind of music.
Awesome.
It's like a whole different thing. It's like dancey, fun, like Michael Jackson, Princey.
Nice.
Like 2 other guys are in the band with me, and it's very fun, like street kind of music, dance music, indie dance music, and then I'll definitely do another record, you know, next year, sometime. Like probably as soon as 2012 hits, I'll start demoing and try to get another record out by like the summertime, I think.
Cool.
So my goal is to have like, you know, 3 records in like 2 years. I'll be close. I'll have 2 records and an EP and like a single in like a 2-year period. So a little less than 2 years, like, you know. So that's kind of like where I'm at right now.
Keeping on moving.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Any last words?
No, thanks for the